My grandfather came from Lucca, Italia the first time in 1906. There was a lot of advertisement going on in Stockton area about Minner and Lux opening up ground in the Buttonwillow area for land development and homesteading. So he came here and met with some of the Italian people and stuff here, and then when he came back the second time, he brought two brothers with him. Pete Romanini, which is Roy Romanini's dad, and Eugenio, who went back to Italy after he didn't like the United States. But anyway, they staked out what we call the old ranch place up there, 160 acres, which he did on a rowboat. It was all underwater. These canals out here were put here to drain the water out. Now, of course, they bring the water in. And that's how they began their farming career. Grains mostly and alfalfa and stuff. Cotton hadn't come in yet at that time. But a lot of times the rains would bring up a lot of their crops. Matter of fact, most of the crops of grain, they were raised by rainwater. Buttonwillow was quite a community after the cotton moved in. Everybody had, not everybody, but mostly camps. There was one right out here behind us that had their employees, 35, 40 people. And that's what made Buttonwillow such on a Friday night, Saturday night. It was not unusual to have 4,000 or 5,000 people in Buttonwillow. And they had 4 or 5 stores. They had 11 bars at one time in Buttonwillow, in surrounding area, White Horse Bar and stuff such as that. People would, it took a lot to take care of that many people. But you needed it for the farming end of it. After that, then Buttonwillow really got strong during the cotton picking time. When cotton came to Buttonwillow, that just expanded. The town just blew up. It expanded because they needed all the help. They needed all the labor and stuff. Cotton was very extensive labor. The chopping, the fertilizing, the picking. And at that time there was a lot of rain. So they got as many people as they could because by October they might have got flooded out. We had an old 60, a 1926 model tractor, which was a used one they had bought at the time to pull these harvesters. And everybody had harvesters. Most of the Italian families did because that's what it was here. And that's how they did their work. A lot of this stuff, this tractor right here, 1926, my dad, they bought it at Carpe International, which was across the street from where Wool Growers is now. That's how people would know it. It was all iron wheels, and at that time, nothing was paved, so he drove it to the depot there in Baker Street. They took it out here to Buttonwillow, and he drove it from the depot out here in Buttonwillow to what we call the old ranch, the original 160 acres. They moved a house in up at what we call the old ranch in from the oil fields. And the whole family lived there. But they also built little shacks and little places where, the boys would sleep. There was probably, my mom said there was, very little trouble because most everybody took care of everything. But there were some robberies and burglaries and stuff like that. But everybody knew everybody, so they'd say, well, he did it. And the cops will come and get him and put him in jail, and then the judge would decide what to do with him. The old jail was right down from where the old post office was. During World War II, they had lookout towers here in Buttonwillow where the people would take turns and then with binoculars look at all the airplanes and stuff that go by. It was part of the war effort deal. There was a lot of history around here. I asked my grandfather one time when he came if there was Indians. He said, yeah, there was a lot of Indians. He said then the army came and took them and put them on a reservation. All along that river bottom that used to run water all the time is when they used to bring flat barges from Stockton area to pick up the grain and stuff. There used to be housing all along that area. Some of the people worked there, and there used to be a big packing plant up here going to McKittrick, a slaughterhouse. At the end of the 58 Low Kern Road was a big train station there too that had all the cattle cars and the racks. I had all the cattle and sheep. They would load them up right there from the hills and stuff. This shop has tools here dating back in the 1800s. you know, that my grandfather and all of them used to use. And I know what they are, but no one uses them anymore. Stuff like that I could donate, you know, rather than get it lost because nobody else is going to use it. And I'd rather, you know, and I'll label them what they are and the whole works. And they got a lot of leather tools because we used to do with the horses, you had to do a lot of your own leather work, harnessing and reins and just with the old buckboards and stuff. And I still got all them tools that they used back at that time. Come the holidays, we'd go from one house to another all up and down the road. And, you know, they'd all have a little drink for us, a little something to eat. It was really, Buttonwillow was really something. And then they'd have a lot of the little meetings and stuff and church groups. And it's a small town, everybody knew everybody, and we really had a good old time. And we spoke mostly Italian. And my mom and I talked Italian all the time up until the time she passed away. I mean, we never spoke English when she was here. Poor Buttonwillow isn't the Buttonwillow we used to know, of course, you know, and it's changed and culture's changed, imagine, and stuff. And so I still kind of travel through town a little bit and look at some of the older places. When I grew up, like I said, I was the oldest one, and they all kind of took me under their wings. At that time, Arthur Young and Dante Giannini and Art Turrigiani and Ernie Galaducci and stuff, I used to travel with those people quite. And they'd go all over. I'd had quite an upbringing, maybe not the best, but I did. It was quite something else.